AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, jeez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun. Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is. But again, something like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable privileged we are? Immigrants.
Bill Maher believes there are many reasons why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez should not become the future face of the DNC. He is convinced she is quietly being prepared to take control of the party, and he believes Democrats are headed for disaster if that happens. Maher gave a similar warning years ago about Kamala Harris. Democrats ended up paying the price during the 2024 election after pushing him aside. Now he is sounding the alarm once again, but this time his criticism is aimed directly at AOC's anti-American image. His response is sharp, direct, and ruthless. Now, let's begin.
AOC, Mandani are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're democratic socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that yet. I don't think people realize we already have a lot of socialism. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment insurance, food stamps, veterans benefits, Pell Grants, COVID-era payments, farm subsidies, disability payments, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, corporate bailouts, and the jobs program that is building weapons the Pentagon doesn't even want.
Bill Maher refuses to back off from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and in his view, he has plenty of reasons not to. Anyone following AOC lately has probably noticed how closely she has aligned herself with New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. Week after week, the two appear completely in sync. In a recent joint video, they encouraged every family in New York, including undocumented immigrants, to enroll their children in the city's free childcare and early education programs. Take a wider look, and the pattern becomes obvious. Mamdani has pushed for expanded free childcare, supported abolishing ICE, partnered with Governor Hochul on broader programs, and proudly embraces New York's sanctuary city image. According to Maher, all of this points in the same direction, and that is exactly what concerns him. He is not attacking the idea of helping children. His argument is that America is already relying too heavily on government-style solutions to cover the failures of capitalism, and he believes the country is moving dangerously close to full-scale socialism. In Maher's eyes, that road only moves one way.
The DSA are radicals about this concept, and radical economic policy is always ineluctably married to radical social policy. Their platform, for example, calls for completely open borders. Therefore, what Biden was doing, but more. You think you're going to win an election on that? This just seems like more extremism at a time when Americans are begging both parties, please, could just one of you act normal?
Bill Maher believes Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez operates on a completely different level compared to Joe Biden. Put them side by side, and the contrast becomes impossible to miss. Even with all his flaws, Biden was still viewed as more of a moderate. He had tougher instincts on border security and at least recognized certain limits. There were still rules, boundaries, and some attempt to keep the system under control. Maybe it was flawed, but it was never fully extreme. AOC, however, represents something far more aggressive in Maher's eyes. He argues that she and her DSA allies do not just support open border policies. They openly celebrate them. No limits, no hesitation, no middle ground. If Biden ever tried to slow things down, Maher believes AOC would completely remove the brakes. To him, that is not just a policy shift, but an entirely different vision for America. And what worries him most is that Democrats still refuse to acknowledge how radical they believe their rising star has become.
Okay, I say the next time we have debates, the moderator needs to frame that question a little differently, as say something about America that you like, because honestly, I don't know why the people who are fighting for this country so hard even want it anymore.
Honestly, This is why the whole situation feels so confusing to many people. Why would Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez want to lead a country she constantly seems unhappy with? Think about that for a second. When someone truly cares about something, they usually do not tear it down at every opportunity. Yet the criticism surrounding AOC never seems to stop. It is non-stop, relentless, and immediate. No matter what Donald Trump does, she appears ready to attack it. Whether jobs rise, the economy improves, or people begin feeling financially stronger, she still responds with anger the moment a camera turns on. There is rarely any pause for reflection or balance. And according to Bill Maher, that is where the real divide appears. Honest criticism can keep power in check, and that can help a country improve. But there is a major difference between constructive opposition and pure resentment. One comes from concern, while the other feels driven by hostility. Maher believes voters can immediately sense that difference.
A country that started out bad will always be bad, founded on an unrelenting history of and unable to change. But we have changed a lot. Democrat Cori Bush tweeted, "This land is stolen land and black people still aren't free." And this was on the 4th of July. Really? Not that I give a shit about the 4th of July. I've never been a rah-rah guy. But I am a perspective guy. And that's what too much of the left has lost, perspective.
A major part of this debate is often missed. According to critics, some Democrats now portray America as a frightening and hopeless place in order to strengthen their political message. Broken, cruel, and beyond repair. At times, the claims become so exaggerated that they sound disconnected from reality. One example was a recent post from Cori Bush suggesting that African Americans in the United States are still not truly free. Think about that for a moment. This is a country where black Americans have served in Congress, led major corporations, sat on the Supreme Court, and even reached the White House. Yet the narrative continues pushing the idea that freedom still does not exist. Critics argue that this is more than stretching the truth, and it creates a deeper divide. They believe the strategy is to make every problem appear worse, fuel more outrage, and paint America in the darkest way possible. And according to Bill Maher, when attacking your own country becomes your entire public image, people eventually stop seeing it as criticism and start seeing it as pure resentment. He believes many Americans already recognize that shift.
72% of black people under 30 are optimistic about their future in America. Way more than white people the same age. And as far as the land goes, yes, I guess we could change the name of Captain America to Captain Stolen Land. But honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgements, where they say, "I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe," I say either give it back or shut them.
Here is another argument from Bill Maher, and this one lands hard. He believes politicians like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have nearly mastered the art of performance politics. Everything feels carefully rehearsed, dramatic displays designed to satisfy certain groups emotionally without creating real change. Take land acknowledgements as an example. Those long speeches about America being built on Native American land sound powerful and emotional. They give the impression that the speaker deeply cares about history and injustice. But once the cameras stop rolling and the applause fades, nothing truly changes. No land is returned, communities are not repaired, and generational pain remains untouched. Maher's criticism is direct. Speaking passionately about injustice means little without meaningful action behind it. He argues that too much modern activism focuses on appearing morally superior instead of accepting the real cost of leadership. In his eyes, it is more about performance than results, and voters are beginning to notice the difference.
AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, jeez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun. Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is.
This raises a serious question. Where does Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez get the idea that America dislikes women? Is the argument based on Hillary Clinton losing in 2016 or Kamala Harris falling short in 2024? If so, critics say that explanation feels weak and overly convenient. Most American voters are not focused on gender when they step into the voting booth. They are thinking about real-life problems. Who can strengthen the economy? Who can secure the border? Who can make daily life easier for working families? Those are the questions that matter most to many voters. According to this argument, Hillary and Kamala were not rejected because they were women. Millions of Americans simply were not convinced they were the right fit for the job. Supporters of this view say that is not sexism. It is democracy functioning the way it is supposed to. Slapping an "America hates women" label onto an election loss may sound powerful, but critics see it as a distraction from the tougher conversation about why voters turned away in the first place.
But again, something like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable privilege as we are? Immigrants.
Critics argue that this level of hypocrisy deserves far more attention. The loudest voices calling America broken, unfair, and oppressive suddenly went quiet when their own side controlled power. In Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's political world, everything seemed stable during the presidency of Joe Biden. The economy was praised, businesses were succeeding, and the country was supposedly moving in the right direction. But the moment Biden left office, the message instantly changed. America suddenly became divided, dangerous, and hostile toward women almost overnight. Take a second and think about that shift. A country does not transform from paradise into disaster within a matter of weeks. The biggest change was simply who held power, and according to Bill Maher, that exposes the real issue. He believes the outrage was never truly about the condition of the country itself. It was about who controlled the spotlight and the political narrative. In his eyes, that is not genuine activism or principled advocacy. It is political opportunism, and he believes calling it out is completely justified.